In today's lesson, I'd like us to look at how we can determine the rule given the input and the output values. The rule is what we are looking for, but we know the input values and we also know the output values. Remember, the input values are the values of x and the output values are the values of y. So if x and y are given, what is the rule or the formula? I'd like us to use a method where we make use of the constant difference. And we need to work out the constant difference for the number sequence that is formed using those y values. So don't use x, just use the y values because the y values are the output values. So the pattern is formed from the y values. The first term there is -4, followed by -2 and 0 and 2 and so on. Let's work out the difference. Remember, difference is a term, subtract the previous term. So in this case, it will be -2, subtract -4. And that should give you an answer of 2. You will notice you will still get a 2 if you subtract -2 from 0. So 0 subtract -2 will also give you 2. Also, 2 minus 0 will give you 2, and so on. So 4 minus 2 will give you 2. So the constant difference is equal to 2 in this case. So those y values are like a number pattern, and the terms of the number pattern are generated by adding 2 every time. And the formula that we will use to find the rule is given by output value equals constant difference multiplied by the input value plus or minus something. So we want to start with the constant difference, and that will be multiplied by every input value. And then we shall see what adjustments we need to make there in order to get the numbers that are shown there by y. Let us start with -4, that -4 there. -4 is our output value. The constant difference is 2, and we are multiplying the constant difference by the input value. The input value for -4 is -1. If you stop there and think about it, you will notice that 2 multiplied by -1 will be equal to -2. And so clearly -4 is not equal to -2. So what do we do to the -2 in order to get a -4? You will notice we need to subtract a 2 again. So -4 is equal to 2 multiplied by -1, subtract 2. Now let's check whether that number pattern is consistent for all the other values. So let's move on to -2, which is the second value of y there. Now -2 is written as constant difference, which is 2, multiplied by the input value. What is the input value for -2? It is 0 in this case. And now, if you stop there and simplify, 2 multiplied by 0 will give you 0, and clearly -2 is not equal to 0. But -2 is equal to 0, subtract 2. So that's a -2 again. Let's do one last one. You don't have to do it for all of them. You can see a number pattern after a third attempt. This time we are taking the 0 there as our output value. So our output value is equal to the constant difference, which is 2. The input value for 0 is equal to 1. If you stop there, that says 0 is equal to 2, and we know that that is not correct. We need to subtract a 2 again in order for us to get a correct statement. Now you can tell what the rule is from here, which means in order to get the rule, remember our rule should connect x and y. You need to ask yourself, so how do we find y? So y is the output value, and it is equal to the constant difference. In this case, the constant difference is 2, multiplied by the input value. So the input value of y is x, so we are multiplying this thing by x. But just like the others there, we need to then subtract a 2 from there. If you simplify that rule, we get y is equal to 2x minus 2. All right, that will be the required rule. You can check whether that is correct. You can check, for instance, using that other combination of 2, 2 there. Let's use that one there. So if we put x equal to 2 and we put y equal to 2, then the left-hand side should be equal to the right-hand side. Let's do that and see what we get. Where there is y, we put a 2. That is the left-hand side. What about the right-hand side? The right-hand side says 2x minus 2, which means 2 is multiplied by x, but in that case, x is equal to 2 again. That thing minus 2 there. If you simplify this, that will give you 4 minus 2, which is equal to 2. So the right-hand side is also equal to 2. So you do get the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side, which confirms that this is the correct rule. And so now you can work out the missing values. It says work out the value of a, given that the value of x is equal to 10. You see there that a is in the row for y. So wherever there is y in this rule, we can now put a. But wherever there is x, we put 10. And then we solve that equation and find a. Let's do that down here. So wherever there is y, we now put a. And wherever there is x, we now put 10. And that will give us the value of a. If you simplify that, that should give us 20 minus 2, which is equal to 18. So we know that a will be equal to 18. What about b? B is the x value, given that the y value is 30. So let's put 30 where there is y, and put b where there is x. So in that same equation there, where there is y, we now put 30. And where there is x, we now put b. Then we solve that equation for b. This will give us 30 equals 2b minus 2. I'll move the negative 2 to the other side, so that becomes 30 plus 2 is equal to 2b. And if you solve that, you should get b is equal to 16.